Now, the next thing that you need to do is to gather as much information on falconry as you possibly can. You might kind of look at all of this and say, this is crazy. Why are you doing all of this research? And the truth of the matter is, falconry is extremely complex. It really, really is. It's not. You go out, you take a hunter safety course for a day, you prove that you can shoot your deer rifle, and then you get your hunting license and you go hunt. That's not what it is. This is actually a much more complex relationship between a human being and a wild animal. And there is so many little tiny details, and that's what we're going to try to get through a lot of this here in this little series that I'm putting together. Is I want you to understand, as incredible as it is to be a falconer, it is, with all of this here, it is far easier to become a falconer than it is to be one. And so for anyone that thinks that this is oh boy, I'm going to have a really cool pet, you are going to be sadly disappointed, and either the animal will be injured or killed, or you will be injured. The animal will escape, but something will definitely go wrong, and you'll be very, very disappointed in your falconry experience. And so education is the key. Every book you can find, very important. Every book you can find on falconry, on birds of prey. I didn't bring my collection of field guides that talk about all the different kinds of birds of prey around the world, but that's also a very good thing. If you love raptors, learn about them. And that's your very, very next step to becoming a good falconer. Falconry is incredibly complex. It's 4,000 years old. You're dealing with extremely intelligent apex predators. This is not a hobby. This is a lifestyle. And so I want you all to be very, very much aware that on average, people who take the falconry test for the first time fail it. And then they go back and they recommit themselves to studying hard, and then they pass the test the second time. I've got just a small collection here of books. I've got quite a few more books in my library, but I just wanted to kind of show you some of the books that you might want to think about, depending on the bird that you want to fly. Let's go ahead and start off with kind of the Bible. This is Frank Beebe's North American Falconry, and this book has been around. You can see it's quite tattered. It's been read many, many, many times by myself. You can find this book at most city libraries, and so if you go to your local library and say, I would like to find books on falconry, this is probably the only book that you will find. And the nice thing is that in many states, this is where the falconry test is taken from. They basically assign someone to write the falconry test, and they rewrite it every few years, and they give them this book, and the person kind of thumbs through the book. They know nothing about falconry, but they basically use most of the glossary at the back of the book for terminologies, and this is the book that you will need to know for the test. So that's kind of the old Bible right there. And how about, this is Desert Hawking. This is a wonderful book about Cooper's hawks and Harris hawks. Again, a lot of these books are species specific, so it depends on the kind of bird that you want to fly, but all of these will have good information for you. So Desert Hawking is another good one. Desert Hawking 2 is, again, these books have been around a very, very long time, and so this is, again, one of the standard works that most beginning falconers read. This is Humphrey's book. This is called Falconry. This is actually a really good book. I highly recommend it for beginners. It's well written. It's easy to read, and it's got an excellent section on falconry equipment and how to make it. So that's a good book as well. If you like prairie falcons, which I love to fly prairie falcons, we have Pirates of the Plains, which deal exclusively with prairie falcons, and not so much falconry, but where they live, the kind of environment that they have, their migrations, and those kinds of things. So that's a great book to start with. If you're into golden eagles, we have Hawking with Golden Eagles, because I fly a golden eagle. That's a nice book to work with. Observations on Modern Falconry is a book. That's not one of my favorites, but it's certainly a good one to have in my collection. Imprint Accipiters, if you like Cooper's Hawks and Goshawks and Sharpshins. Really, really good book. You probably won't do birds like this until you have got a lot more experience, because these birds are a lot more high-strung and difficult to deal with. Falconry Today, again, not my personal favorite, but it's got a lot of good information about it as well. Falconry in Arabia, not a lot that deals with North American falconry, but it's nice to understand different cultures and different practices. So that's a kind of a fun read. Falconry and Hunting Hawks. Again, this is a great book. This, as far as it has a really good section on equipment and learning how to make the equipment and use the equipment. This is a great book for that. One of my all-time favorites, though it's quite rare and hard to find, this is American Hawking. And this has been out of print for a very long time. They're almost impossible to find. But this particular book, for someone that's interested in wanting to get into falconry, if you can find this book, this is an excellent book, American Hawking. And it like I said, good information about basic training, good information about basic equipment and how to make them. That's a great book. Understanding, now this one was actually just given to me by a very fine friend of ours. Haven't had a chance to read it. This is Understanding Birds of Prey, and I'm looking forward to reading through Understanding Birds of Prey. Even though I've been doing this for over 50 years, you can always learn something new. Well, I promise I'm keeping these very, very short. So I hope you all have a really great day, and we'll do another video very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.